Hello everyone, and hello everyone. Welcome back to the rest stop. In today's video, I wanted to do something a bit different and also fulfill a request. Now, the request was to kind of go through my whole back journey, like what happened, how did I hurt myself, how did I get here, and how am I getting better? And I also wanted to do a video like this because I feel like there's not a lot of modern videos on YouTube, at least from what I had seen. Most everything was a few years old, and it was typically from people, no offense, but they were older. Nobody was 29, going and having this surgery. So I figured, why not? Maybe I can reach some new audience members and convert them into ASMR enjoyers. So if you are here just for, back recovery talk, this is primarily an ASMR channel. I do help people sleep, at least I like to think so. They tell me that sometimes, but I want to help you guys out too and satisfy my community that I've built here. So I'm trying to kind of balance it out. So that's why we're doing soft spoken today. If you can put up with the soft speaking, then I hope you find this video informative and find some light at the end of the tunnel. I will tell you, I just recorded a 40-minute video of this exact conversation, but this didn't record. So I'm doing it again. And hopefully I learn from my mistakes and I'll be a little bit more concise this time. So, a little background. I'm 29 years old. I started having back pain when I was 15. I had an injury in the gym. I felt a slight twinge when I did leg press. I went too low, put my knees to my ears essentially on the leg press, and then I did squats and I went down, never came back up. It slightly recovered over the next 10 years. I was a wrestler. I played baseball in high school, football in high school. I swam in high school. I played college baseball, and eventually I would join the military and serve as a military police officer. So that's really where things started going downhill exponentially fast. Very, very quickly, I had sciatic pain off and on. It wasn't horrible. It was more of a dull ache, and it definitely originated from my lower back. Now, I will tell you, the entire time since that injury, I was not able to flex or go into extension of my lower back without feeling that pinching directly in between my vertebrae, L5-S1. So I got an MRI in the military while I was active duty in Korea, and sorry, I thought that was on, and they sent me to a physical therapist, a Korean physical therapist, and they did some really weird stuff. It was like, going, and they're like, I don't know, just stuff that didn't make any sense. Like, I had a lower back injury, for example, and this guy was saying that the nerves in my tongue, the muscles under my tongue, were connected to the muscles in my lower back, and if he stuck his fingers under and pressed as hard as he could to release the muscle under my tongue, maybe my lower back would release. My throat swelled up for 2 weeks after that, because that's just trauma. I mean, that was horrible. I did that, not this. I did lower back physical therapy for about a year in Korea, twice a week, actually. So I'd get on a bus, I'd go to the hospital about an hour away, and I'd get physical therapy for an hour. I'm trying to think. Now, the whole time I was still doing my regular duties. I would go on my off days, and I think it got worse while I was in the military because we wore full combat loadout, everything. All the M4 mags you can imagine. Obviously the M4, M9 or M18, the mags associated with that, and then you have your plates, your armor plates, front and back. And that's a lot of weight. And I think that's what caused it. You know, I'm working 16 hours a day in that gear. We weren't on 8-hour shifts at the time, we were on 12s, and if you know anything about shift work, especially overseas, you're not working a 12-hour shift, you're working a 14-hour shift, especially if you're military police. You show up an hour early to arm up and do guard mount, all that BS, and then you have to de-arm at the end of the day, and if you have to be briefed about whatever someone did, it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. Anyways, so I think that's what really caused it. I was still lifting extremely heavy. I was actually really, really strong, even with the injury. But at that point, it was like, it's becoming more and more of an issue. So that's why I got seen. And when I got out, I got seen at the VA. I had epidural steroid injections in Wichita at the VA, Wichita, Kansas. They didn't do anything. And I went through PT again. It helped a little bit, but not really. It only helped when I did it, if that makes sense. So it's like, and I'm a huge advocate for physical therapy. I think it's the best possible thing you can do, aside, like, especially before you go down the path of surgery. A lot of the people don't need surgery after they do physical therapy. So I did that, and then I moved to Athens, Georgia, which is where I'm at now. I got seen at my provider, and I said, I want to go to a neurosurgeon. They said, well, then go to a neurosurgeon, you got to go seen through, the whole gambit of pain management again. So I did pain. They didn't make me do PT, thank God. I went through pain management again, which was more epidural steroid injections. I had 3 of them, so I've had 5 or 6 total injections at this point within the last 2 years, and they did nothing. And for whatever reason, at that same time, within the last 4 months of right now, my left leg, I woke up one day and it was just agonizing pain, the worst pain I've ever felt in my entire life. I don't know if I sneezed wrong before I got in bed. I have no idea. I woke up and I had horrible, horrible sciatica. I couldn't bend my leg fully. Any pressure that I put on my left leg sent it straight up into my lower back, in my sacrum, in that L5-S1 region. And I couldn't walk, couldn't do anything. I laid in bed for days, genuinely days. Had my friend bring me food, all that kind of stuff. Or I just didn't eat. But essentially I just ate Pizza Hut or Domino's every day. And finally, I forgot to mention, dang it, before I got my second round of steroid injections, I finally, after a year and a half, I waited 1.5 years with just my regular consistent pain to get seen by a neurosurgeon. Thank you, VA. I got seen by the neurosurgeon, and he said, well, we don't do, at the time I was looking for someone to do a disc replacement because I had just heard about it. And my disc is completely disintegrated. It's gone. It's collapsed. It's fully dried out. I think it's called like desiccation, so there's no fluid in it. It's essentially just tissue, and it's not filled with any cushion. So I was searching for that neurosurgeon, and he said, well, in the meantime, he said, first of all, I don't do that surgery, so you're gonna have to go somewhere else. And in the meantime, I'll refer you outpatient to these epidural injections. So I got the injections, and I told him, I said, hey, send me to someone, give me a name so I can tell the VA of a guy that does do the surgery so I can go there. About a month later, he gave me the name. I gave the name to the VA, and we were able to get a consultation after those injections were done, and there was no improvement. And on my way, I went. So I went to Southeastern Neurological Specialists in Northside Hospital. I first saw Dr. Steven Spitz. He's a neurosurgeon. I didn't really feel like I clicked with him, but maybe he was just having an off day. Doctors are busy and they're seeing a lot of people, and they're probably really tired. So I didn't think too much of it. It's not like he had a bad bedside manner or anything. I just felt like it was kind of, I don't know, he'd probably seen a trillion patients like me, so he's like, we're gonna go in, cut that, I'm not doing a disc replacement on you right now. First, we need to take care of your sciatica and get all of that pressure off of your nerve, because you have a severe disc herniation that is compressing that spinal canal. So I had spinal stenosis, pretty bad, and he's like, we want to get you off of that cane, like immediately, before you have permanent nerve damage. So I'm gonna take out the tissue, microdiscectomy, hemilaminectomy. I'll see you in 3 months. And I was like, 3 months? I can't do that. And I found that out after I had gotten home. It's a 2.5 hour drive from here to where they're at. So I said, are there any other doctors there that can get me in sooner? And they said, yes, but you have to do another consultation. I said, I don't care, let's do it. I can't sit on the toilet, it's just, I can't walk. I haven't been in the gym for 3.5 months. I'm miserable. And I did the consultation, and thank God I did that consultation. My prayers were answered. They were able to get me in that June 1st. I got seen at the other neurosurgeon, Dr. Tariq Javed, like the 17th, I think, of May, and they said, we'll see you on June 1st for surgery. And I was like, oh my gosh, thank you, God. Thank you, God. And I 2 days before surgery, is kind of just a little tidbit. I fell. I had fallen a few times because my legs would just give out from just pain. I could feel them. Oh, I could feel them. I could feel them too much. My left leg, I say them, it's my left leg. So my left leg would just light up sometimes, and I would fall. And it'd take me a minute, but I'd be able to get off the ground. But this time, I fell, and it was Saturday. That Saturday before Monday, I had surgery. I got up from bed, and it felt weird. And I took 5 steps, and I fell in my doorway. And it hurt so bad. It hurt so bad, I was crying. I'm 29 years old. My entire life has been built on men don't show pain, which, for better or for worse, it's helped me in some situations, and it's been, a burden in other situations. I'm not mad at my dad. I love my dad for that. But I cried my butt off, sobbed, laying on the floor, screaming in pain, literally yelling, ouch, like I was a kid. I called my dad, and I'm pretty much having a panic attack. I called my dad, and he's like, dude, I can't do anything for you. You have to call 911. So I called 911. I think at that point I was kind of going into shock a little bit. I'm telling you guys, it hurt that bad. I was about to pass out. And in my shock, adrenaline, embarrassment, while I was on the phone with 911, I was able to pull myself up, and I told him not to break down my door, okay? So that's how bad it was. If you think yours was bad, mine was there, okay? Not saying mine was worse, but I'm right there with you. So I had the surgery, and I woke up screaming. Again, same pain, same just inescapable agony. My lower back had seized and it locked up, went into spasm. I don't know if it was because of the incision. They had to move tissue out of the way. I don't know if it was because of inflammation. I don't know if it was because of the freeing of that nerve, and my lower back was able to finally relax. And I say relax because it had been compressed for so long I couldn't flex that lower back. So once I could finally do it, neurologically, that connection, that light switch was flipped. And I woke up, crying. partially probably because of the anesthesia, but the nurses and doctors told me, they were like, you were rolling in bed before you were conscious. You already were crying. You were crying in your sleep. And, you know, they gave me Dilaudid and some muscle relaxers. I'm gonna plug my phone in because I think it's gonna die. They gave me the Dilaudid and muscle relaxers and whatever else. And my muscles finally relaxed. And I was okay. Stopped crying. I stopped crying. And I remember being really let down because the first thing I felt was that my legs still hurt. And all the videos that I watched were people saying the first thing that they felt was that their back and their leg, specifically their leg, didn't hurt anymore. They didn't have that nerve pain, right? So I'm like, oh no, it failed. It just immediately let down, and it hurts, you know, it still hurts. So I'm upset that it hurts. I'm upset that I think it failed. And the doctor came in and I told him, and he's like, look, man, it's gonna be probably a long time. Maybe not a long time, but it's gonna be a little while before that nerve calms down. You have hyperinflammation from the surgery. So there's trauma to that area. All that blood is rushing in, and it's compressing your nerve the same way that the extruded disc was compressing the nerve, because it's filling your dura, the spinal canal, with fluid, right, from that inflammation. So that's compressing the nerve, literally mechanically compressing it. And you also have new blood flow to a nerve that hasn't been awake in 15 years. So that's painful. Like I said, it flipped the switch, and now this nerve is like, oh my God, what do we do with all this information? Pain, ouch, it hurts. Somebody give me Percocet, you know, so that's painful. And the coming days were misery. I'll just let you know right now, if you wake up like I did, your following days, I hope I'm wrong, but if you still have nerve pain when you wake up, the next few days, 2 weeks, are going to be miserable. And they were for me. I'm on day 12 of recovery. Day 1 through 4, I was thinking, wow, I already re-herniated it. There's no way it hurts this bad. It was that same pain. Even before I had surgery, I could lay in bed. And once I finally decompressed that spine, my pain went away. But after surgery, you have continuous inflammation. So now even when I laid in bed, which was all I was doing, I had inescapable pain, right? So I was just icing as often as I could. We only had 2 ice packs. So I was icing just all the time, all day, all night, as long as I could. Taking the max amount of my Percocet, taking the max amount of my muscle relaxers, taking the max amount of, I just took my gabapentin as prescribed. But horrible. It was horrible. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I wanted to not wake up. It was that bad. I called them and I said, you guys, I can't do this anymore. I really can't. I was getting emotional. So I was like, I don't know what to do. And they're like, immediately prescribed me the steroid pack. It was like methylprednisolone. I think it's just prednisone. I got it that evening. The directions say if you receive this medication before the next day, you have to take all of it. So I just downed 6 doses of prednisone. And I went to bed. Went to bed that night. I woke up the next morning, same horrible pain. I went through the day, took my prednisone, took all my medicine, went to sleep,
woke up the next day, took my medicine. I took half a Percocet, 5 milligrams of Percocet. I took my gabapentin. I took my prednisone. I laid in bed till noon, and I went downstairs. And I was hanging out with my dad. And I was like, I'm gonna try to sit down, because I hadn't sat down in a week. I sat down, and I eased into it. It hurt, but then it didn't. And I just stayed there for a minute, and I allowed myself to feel safe in that position. And then I stood up, and I didn't have pain. I had zero pain. And I remember just being like, oh my God, like, it worked. Something happened to where either my medicine helped enough to where it made me feel okay, or the swelling has gone down enough to, I walked around for 2 hours. Walked around, got my food, I hung out with my stepmom and my dad, and we watched TV, sat on the couch, which I'm not even supposed to be sitting like this right now, to be honest with you. You're not supposed to sit. You're supposed to walk and lay. But I had no pain for the first time. So my dad says, look, stay for the next few days, make sure it's not a coincidence, and, go home on Monday. I went home on Monday, and I was okay. And, I still wake up. And I have pain in my leg, but it's nowhere near what it was the first week. Day 4, I wanted to die. Genuinely, I wanted to die. And I'm a religious person. I'm a Christian guy. I'm a Christian man. I wanted to die. I mean, I was praying for hours a day. Not to get religious. I know a lot of people get uncomfortable. Whatever. It's my channel. Get over it. But I was praying. I'm just saying how rough it was. I was pleading, please God, take this pain away, or just give me the strength to get through it to where I can just see it through. And whatever happened on that day, my prayers were answered for sure. That's how I feel about it, because it was incredible. It was a total, someone just flipped a coin and it landed on the other side that said no pain. And drove home. It was an hour drive, and I was okay. Woke up the next morning, had pain in my leg, but I took 5 milligrams Percocet, took my gabapentin. I went back to sleep for a little bit. I woke up, and I was able to walk around. I had my back brace on, but I was able to walk around. I was able to sit down. My foot wasn't tingling as much. It's still numb. Bottom of my left side of my foot is numb. My calf is kind of numb, and the back of my hamstring is numb. I'm taking my gabapentin, taking my Percocet. I don't take the muscle relaxers anymore. I'm taking 550 micrograms of BPC 157. It's my 5th dose today. I'm taking magnesium. I'm taking vitamin D3. I'm drinking orange juice for vitamin C. I'm taking creatine with collagen peptides in it. And what else am I taking? Fish oil sometimes, but not often, because I'm taking also, I took 600 milligrams of ibuprofen a day, and fish oil thins your blood, so you gotta be careful with that. I didn't know that, by the way. I looked it up, but so I'll sometimes take fish oil. I'm easing off of my Percocet, and then I'll have to ease off of my gabapentin as well. So I'm only taking 10 milligrams of Percocet a day. My prescription is 20. I was taking only 15, so I was still below. But I'm doing better. And, I hope this was informative to the people that are not into ASMR but are looking for some sort of light at the end of the tunnel. My injury was for 15 years, and my surgery was 12 days ago. Not even 12 days ago, 11 and a half days ago now. And I'm young. I mean, all my subscribers call me Unc, but I'm young to have, I was the youngest patient in that entire hospital to be having spinal surgery. They told me that. So, I don't know if the BBC is helping yet. I do know for a fact my nerves in my leg are recovering. My back is loosening up. I was having horrible, not incision pain, but below my incision, along my sacrum. You know, it's like they were stretching, like really, like straining too far, and it was very painful. That's going away. I'm still walking around. I still have to take my medicine, like I said, but I'm getting better. 100% getting better. Those steroids, by the way, I would almost just if you have pain, immediately tell them, and they'll ask for the steroids. Just get the steroids. Because I genuinely think that's what actually, flip the switch for me to stop being in agony. If you're in agony, tell them. Because I know what it's like, and I would never want to go through that ever again. Ever again. So I have my follow-up on the 18th. I'll let you guys know how that goes, see what kind of clearances he gives me. And I want to get back to 100%. I want to be better than I used to be. I want to do deadlifts. I want to do squats. You'll see all these posts on Reddit about, oh, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't risk that. I don't care, man. I'm an athlete. I'm a weightlifter. And I want to be active for the rest of my life. So I hopefully will be able to give you guys a positive update. Hopefully in 6 months, I'm going to be a totally different person in a different body. That's what I'm hoping. To my ASMR community, I hope this was still relaxing. I know I didn't do any, relaxing sounds, but I hopefully spoke softly enough to where it was a good listen for you guys. And if any of you guys are going through, I know a few of you have mentioned having back surgeries yourself, and I feel for you guys truly, because this sucks, man. I mean, this sucks. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm still going through it. I'm recovering, but I'm not anywhere near 100%. I wouldn't even say I'm at 30% yet. Anyways, if you made it to the end of the video, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one, and as always, please, please, please have a good rest.